Hey everybody, welcome to the Sheepdog Project. Doc here. Tim is back.
Yeah, America.
And joining us today is Mr. Shane Steiner. Say hello, Shane.
Hello.
So we're going to talk about everything Sheepdog today, and Shane has come by today because he's going to give us his perspective. We talked an awful lot about guys like Tim and I, guys who went the military route. We talked about people going the law enforcement route, going the pure martial artist route. To being a sheepdog. Shane had what we would call an unconventional route to get to the from sheepdog A to sheepdog point B. So we're going to talk about that. So, Tim, I'm going to let you start it off the questioning. So go ahead.
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. So as a lot of people know, they see videos and pictures of my training all over the world, specifically here in Austin, and you see this massive mesomorph. He looks like a Viking slash troll slash steroid infused, cocaine filled, raged.
Not as much cocaine as it used to be.
Like honey badger in heat after doing massive amounts of stimulants. And
So
that
it's build with steroids, cut with cocaine. That's kind of the motto.
yeah. And that training
look.
partner would be Shane Steiner. Actually, just this morning, we were at Atomic Athlete doing our morning strength and conditioning session. We're surrounded by college athletes, other special forces people, or special operations, some Rangers, a couple of other Green Berets, and Shane leading the charge in what ended up being horrible sprints uphill. Is just another testament to kind of how you can turn a corner. People are like, oh my God, how Tim Kennedy, do you look like that? How do you perform like that? How can you train for so long? How can you go deployment after deployment to then fight to blah blah blah? And truth is, there's absolutely nothing special about any of us. There's nothing special about Mike. There's nothing special about Shane. There's nothing special about Blake. Any of the other instructors, Marshall, Alex, they're all physical specimens. But the difference is that they put in the work. And I think that's the biggest thing about Shane. And so we're going to dive into the history, the background, maybe where the metamorphosis occurred and what the genesis of this change is. So let's go all the way back. Let's go to
Let's get in the way back.
Hey, well, just so everybody knows that I'm still a work in progress. I had a slight hangover doing all that stuff today, only because I played last night.
Oh, so let's talk about playing. Shane, country music star. Could we get
X star?
You can't say X because last night
You're never an X.
I saw you on stage, crushing it.
That was fun.
It was fun. Could we just get one line of your chorus?
No.
No. Okay.
Listen, you have that same burn in your chest that I do right now. I will cough all over this microphone.
If you hear coughing fits, is that you, doctor?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Runner's cough.
Yeah, so the more you run and you're taking those deep inspirations, so you're activating all of the cilia inside your lungs. So those are the little hair-like.
Cilia.
They're actually flesh.
It's really silly to activate cilia.
It's not silly though. You need
It is.
So smokers don't have it, and that's why when people quit smoking, they'll develop an even worse cough because their cilia is coming back. So your cilia starts to really come to life and move.
So it's a real
and
thing.
It starts to move. Yeah, it starts to move all this phlegm, all these secretions out from lower in your respiratory tract, kind of moving it up, because you want to cough that out because you're trying to maximize down to every alveoli, getting it fully.
You've lost
inflated,
everybody listening right now.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
So there's little tiny bags at the bottom of your lungs, and in order to fill them up completely, you can't have any junk in there. Okay.
So I have hair on the back of my hands.
Little hairs throw the junk up out of your lungs for you.
So
All I know is it feels like somebody stabbed me right here in the chest.
Yeah.
So my beautiful, bodacious, beautiful, busty brunette wife, who's a marathoner, does not think that runner cough exists. She's like, no, that's not a real thing. I'm like, oh, it is a real thing. If you come do sprints with me, you will get runner's cough. Well, that is not, in my opinion, and it's just my humble opinion, that runner's cough is not an excuse for us and our listeners to be
Denied the privilege.
Yeah, like
We don't let it stop us. That's how I know that we did a good job.
Oh, I'm talking about singing right now.
Oh,
Just like 5 notes. 5 notes.
man, I need a guitar. Plus,
I got my keyboard right back there. I can play. Just like,
We got the Wurlitzer.
all right, so Shane, he says ex country music star. He had an amazing album with a fantastic hit, and he toured for how many years?
it was a couple of years straight.
Now, for those of you that don't know, there is this allure of being a music star, but being a musician, going on stage, performing. Everybody wants to be you, and everybody wants to be like you. You got cool clothes. It is almost purgatory. You are doing the same thing every day at a different place, playing at the will of the masses, and you kind of find these dark crevices in the human condition to perform. And Shane lived that life for a while.
Yeah, I thought when I would see Aerosmith, I would think that's got to be the greatest job ever, because they're getting paid. They only have to work an hour, and then they get to go out and have these. They're out hanging around people and partying. They're the life of the party. And then when I got there, I realized that 1 hour they're on stage is the only time you're not working. The rest of it is the work. And then as soon as the show's over, you're immediately on a bus, headed to the next place, and it's pretty lonely. It's like most of the time you're on a bus by yourself, and that's that's kind of where the drinking and drugs start to creep in, because there's nothing else to do.
That's not a conducive life to be
And
a
plus,
warrior.
You get 3 hours of sleep, and then you have to be up for a radio station interview, and then you need to get some sleep just so you can play that night. And so then you start, there's other things that will help you do that, and started getting a little bit of the Elvis thing happening. So
One pill makes you bigger.
Yeah.
One pill makes you small.
So, in the asset and liability perspective of kind of you're aware of what you can do now, how fast you are, how strong you are, how well you shoot, how well you fight. Back then, what could you have done if somebody walked on your bus and was like, I'm going to take everything on here?
I think I probably would have done okay because of my mentality. I thought that I could do this. I still had the same mindset that, I probably would have got my ass kicked, but I would have thought I was going to kick somebody's ass going into it. Mostly because I had, there's also substances that will make you think that you're stronger than you are.
I see that all the time.
So just because of that, I probably would have, I would at least scratched somebody a lot. Or
you had long nails. Those were useful for other things as well.
I still have these on one hand.
So are those Coke nails or are those guitar picking nails?
These are guitar picking nails.
Is it dual purposed?
No, because most people use this one.
Oh, that's the pinky. Okay.
But see, that one's short.
That is short. So
Carrie Fisher said that was not classy, though. She said when she was a cokehead, she used a spoon because that was classy.
Yeah. Well, she would know.
She would know.
It's classy.
Yeah, classy
God
use
rest
of
her.
cocaine.
She would know.
So from you come from an amazing, remarkable, athletic family. So some of the most talented genetics in just toughness. I'm gonna hop on this wild, raging animal, and I'm gonna ride it until it either quits or the buzzer goes off. That's kind of badass. And that's pumping through your veins. You're obviously not a shab yourself in the athletic department. You're a freak of nature. But you turned a corner at some point where you went from traveling to Amsterdam, doing plane loads of cartel cocaine, getting in fights with drug dealers on the corners over whether it's a upper, a downer, or if there's anything that comes along with the use of these drugs, like a package deal. Like if I buy A and B, do I get C included?
Yeah, that actually happened in Amsterdam.
No way.
I fought a drug dealer, and then that's when I knew. That's like one of those moments where, as you're sitting there looking at this guy that's on the ground that I've just hit, and I was thinking, I need to make some serious adjustments in my lifestyle because this is not good. It was like 4 in the morning. I just got there, and I'd been in Amsterdam maybe 6 hours, and I was already in a fight with a drug dealer. That's when I immediately got on a train and left because I thought I was going to get killed.
What's the percentage of cathartic life stories that start with "it was about 4 in the morning"?
Well, I mean, I thought I have some pretty remarkable stories. There's a lot of living in these years, but I have not arrived in Amsterdam and 6 hours later been in a fist fight with a drug dealer on the street corner.
No.
That's pretty fantastic.
Hey, look, the guy was ripping me off.
Yeah, so how does a drug dealer rip somebody off
Well, first of all,
in Amsterdam?
they know that you're not really privy to how much stuff costs there, and so he basically, as I was handing him money, he reached over and then like yanked some money out of my hand, and I was like, "Look,
That's not how this works.
Just give me that back." And he started walking away from me. And
I don't care what culture you are in. You start reaching into somebody else's money wad and taking money, you've crossed the line.
so I remember I reached up and I touched him on the shoulder. I said, "Hey, buddy, just give me my money back and we'll be cool." And he looked at me and was like, "Do not touch me. That is assault." And I remember, like, this is how I knew it was a.
So a drug dealer is getting very technical about the
Yes.
letter of the law.
Because I like very gently touched his shoulder, and then I said, and I remember I'd had it, and I kind of jogged up next to him. I said, "No, buddy, I'm from Texas. This is assault." And then
They laid him out.
yeah, and then all of a sudden I was surrounded by other drug dealers, and they were like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Hey, man, this is bad business," and they were like, "All right, cool." And I thought, man, I could easily just been stabbed and thrown in that river right there. So I got out of town, and you'd think that would be a catharsis moment for me, but I had several of those.
Yeah.
And then so they would just almost help me to survive to another month, but then I'd just go right back to it. But luckily, I mean, I think I've turned the corner now. I mean,
When I go to town, I tell all of our coaches and training partners, I was like, listen, you keep an eye on that Shane Steiner. If he's not in
I don't
here,
think that's necessary.
but they're watching you.
Well, good.
They see those little blonde braids running down the street at an obscene speed.
Well, look, I've got kids now and I'm married. It's when you have kids, that's kind of what's before when I'm single and didn't have any responsibilities other than just myself.
Right. I mean, somebody with a soul has that recognition that, like, okay, I have a family, I have kids, I have a wife, I now need to be a contributing member of society. Believe it or not, there are the majority of people, i.e., freaking assholes, they don't care. They're like, oh, I'll just have 9 more kids, maybe I can get more money from the government, I'll just continue to use drugs, I'll actually use my kids as opportunities to get more money from the government so I can buy more drugs. That's probably more the norm than the person that's like, oh man, I have a beautiful, unbelievably gorgeous wife with unbelievably gorgeous daughters. I cannot be doing this anymore.
Well, also, I don't want I want to be able to protect them. We always talk about assets and liabilities. If you're like messed up on drugs, not only are you is that money.
Move your mic up a little bit. There you go.
Well, I'm trying not to cough into it.
Okay. No, that's all right.
Not
Makes it
only
more real.
are you wasting money that for their food and stuff like that, but if anything ever arises where you need to protect them, you're going to be a liability.
Yeah.
Well, how many people do you, and you talked about this a little bit earlier. I see all levels of society come through the ER. So, and I do see a lot of people are there because of substance issues. And none of them seem to have that grip on reality. Any one of them, I think, probably 90% of them that I see, if pushed, they would push back. And they all think they would probably be pretty successful. You talked about if somebody tried to take your shit, back then on the bus, you would have stepped up and done something. What the outcome would have been, in nobody knows. And that's the thing, is a lot of them don't have that dose of reality. They've never done that self-assessment, and I don't know if it has more to do with their brains being addled by drug use or just never having that dose of reality. But typically those are the ones in the ER that when they do get a little bit squirrely, they're actually the easiest to put down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a little of both. I mean, you're just not you know you're. I remember when people would tell me I had a problem, and so first of all, let me just go ahead and say that I'm still hungover. So
Last night, as Shane's playing, he's rocking, crushing it, and I was like, "Can you just start sending him a couple of fingers of bourbon every couple of minutes?"
it was on a couple of fingers.
That was an entire tumbler worth of brown booze, and then we go to Atomic Athlete this morning to do a hypertrophy upper body circuit set, and then double down on 100-meter sprints uphill times 8.
I did 7 because my shoes started melting on my feet.
That's true.
I do sprints in wrestling shoes, and that's not really the smartest idea.
That sounds painful.
Want to hear something infuriating, Mike? So they broke us into kind of ability groups and speed. So they wanted everybody to finish at the same time.
Sure.
So the fastest people were in the very back, and then 10 meters ahead of that were like the middle speed people, and then the front were the slowest.
I know where I would have been.
Yeah. So Shane and I were in the fastest group in the back, and Shane won going uphill every single time, and the downhill sprints, we were also doing those. I would win because that's pure quad speed, and he's a hamstring fast little shit. But then there's this one guy. There's this one guy that sandbagged a couple of rounds.
Oh, I hate those people.
Yeah, and then he beat me one time, and then he lost the next 6. But after the whole entire thing, he's like, "Oh yeah, I got you that one." Like, what? Do you stab? Like, what is the appropriate response to that?
I don't know, but I find that happens to us a lot. There's everybody kind of picks their moment to.
Give them their small victory.
You know what though? That's what would be hard to be you, because every time I've ever gone with you into a gym to do jujitsu, there's always like everybody is going to take their shot at Tim, and even the higher level guys, they're gonna wait and try to wait until somebody wears Tim, or they think it's going to wear him down. They're never going to come at him first. Mm-hmm. But even if in their mind, if they went with him 10th and subbed you, they would get to go around saying they subbed Tim.
Yeah,
they
that's
never
right.
do, but
it's okay. Keeps you sharp, keeps you on point. So back to you, Shane Steiner.
Okay.
All right. What was the point where you had that epiphany, where you're like, "Oh man"?
You know what? I think I was like 37, and which is a little late to have a epiphany to say, "Man, I should just get my stuff together." But I was on the couch, and I was thinking, "Man, it's over. I'm encroaching on 40." I just grabbed a case of beer and climbed on the couch and was like, it was kind of like, let's grow old gracefully, but let's do this. I'm just gonna be and my dad. Every time he would come over to my house, and he was in just phenomenal shape. And I was thinking, wait a minute, this guy's like almost 60, and he's like bounding around like a young guy. And I thought maybe there's a shot for me. Maybe if I start training now and get my shit together, that there's a quality of life. Because I thought, man, right now my back hurts, my neck hurts, I can't get any sleep. My wife does not look at me like she finds me attractive, and a lot of these things I'll probably bring my dad up because he just has this way, because he knows me. But he invited me out on the lake, and because every time I was around him, I would suck in my stomach, and he'd be like, you're way too heavy, and I'd be like, what are you talking about? So he invites me on the lake, and I've got my shorts on and my shirt's off, and I'm driving the boat. And later on, he texted me a bunch of pictures that he took of me while I was driving the boat. Like he was
Sneaky
he was
little
like
son of a gun.
over there taking pictures of my belly just hanging over, and it's there's a little bit of shame. People say, "Oh, you got to be just happy with your body." But I think that shame is kind of what it keeps you from doing. It keeps you doing what you need to do. Is the shame of like, let me tell you, once you start getting it together, and then you see how your wife starts to look at you differently, and but my dad totally basically body shamed me, and it worked.
You know who says that? And we're gonna get hate mail for this. I don't care. You know who says you just got to be happy with your body? Really lazy fat
People, yeah.
lazy fat people.
No,
Not that's giving up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. I've said this 1,000 times. Fat's the new average, but it's not the new normal.
No. I look at I'm using quotation marks because they're not real feminists. The feminists right now, the ones that are surging,
Third wave feminists.
that want to be in front of a camera, that talk about it's not okay to body shame. It's sexist to talk about what a woman's physique is supposed to look like. Inversely, okay, this is what a man is. A man can be fat or a man can be skinny. No, we can't. We were built. We were designed to do work. That's the way that our bodies are constructed, the way that our musculature works, the way that we're supposed to put on, lift, and move things. We're supposed to go to bed tired. We're supposed to have calloused hands. We're supposed to have sore backs and knees and legs after doing real hard work. And so then you sleep better, and then you have a better sex life, and then you're hungry for not crap food, but for real food. Yeah. Food that you can't go to McDonald's and get, food that you can't go to KFC and get. I'm talking about real food that was grown in the ground. You're like, oh look, or the name of the chicken that dropped that egg, or you saw that animal that was alive, and then you kill it and you skin it and then you eat it, like that type of real food. So like when you were fat, when you were sitting on that boat and you couldn't sleep, libido's in the toilet.
So also, I was on a bunch of at that point, I'd actually stopped doing the hard drugs and had gone to the doctor. And the doctors had put me on a myriad of stuff. Oh, you have anxiety, so here's some anti-anxiety medication.
But those come in a bottle with your name on it, so those are
So it must be okay. and the fact they'll tell you to take 4 Xanax bars in a day. So I'll tell you, if anybody ever has anxiety and you start taking anti-anxiety medication, nobody will ever have anxiety like they do when they run out of anti-anxiety medication.
Yeah.
Like I forgot my name and how to walk, and had to go to the ER one time. But now I don't take anti-anxiety. I don't take antidepressant. I don't take anti-anything, and I don't have anxiety anymore. I don't have ADD anymore.
You don't need pills to get libido. You don't need anything. It's your body will do it. You just have to teach it.
Well, they would tell me
everything. Sorry to interrupt, but everything that we're talking about, all these anti-anxiety. SSRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitors. What are they doing? They're helping you have more serotonin. So in other words, they're helping you have something that your body's already making. Okay, they're helping you with serotonin. They're helping you with dopamine. They're helping you with all these things that your body already has. Well, hey, guess what? There's other ways to make more of that and to use it more efficiently, and it's by living a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah. So how do you make serotonin? How do you make dopamine? You have sex. You work out. You sleep well. You eat good food. That's how you do it.
Drink water, change your
Yeah, like it's really, really simple. Like,
well, they'd always say diet and exercise, and I remember there was this stage I went through when a doctor would say, you know what you need is diet and exercise, and I would just like, oh man, can't you just write me a script for something? But now, like, I look at that guy and go, man, what an idiot you were, because it's true. They say it because it actually is the cure-all. Because
when we're in this cultural problem right now where everybody wants the easy solution. They want that quick fix. They want where they can get prescribed something, they take a pill, and pow, they lose weight. Or pow, they sleep better.
I want to be able to eat whatever I want to eat, and regardless of what that does to my body, you'll give me a statin, or you'll give me or metformin or insulin to counteract the bad stuff that I did to my body, because I want to do all the unhealthy things, and then I want, like you said, a magic bullet that's just going to counter that.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
No, it's, we say pay now, pay later, which is partially true, but depending on how you look at it, because, and I know you can relate to this, Shane, there is a lot of personal gratification and personal reward in living that healthy lifestyle and feeling good. It's its own dividend.
Well, I think that if there was a pill that you could take to look good, you wouldn't really feel that great about looking good. I mean, there's something about the work that you put in that when you see yourself and you go, oh man, I feel like I'm, of course, but I don't think I ever reached that point. I'm always,
Yeah, but you're right now. You're hitting the nail on the head with something that I tell absolutely everybody that comes to our courses, that comes and trains with us. It's you have to fall in love with the process. You have to believe in the work. The work is the important element of the success. So when I say fall in love with the process, you have to fall in love with the sweat. You have to fall in love with the blood. You have to fall in love with the effort of mistakes and having to get up after failing.
And it's not diet. You don't go on a diet, and you change the way that you live your life so that you're eating clean. It's not just for a small time period so that you can get in shape and then throw it all down the window and eat whatever the hell you want to, and then try to bounce back a few months later. That's the way you live your life, is eating clean and getting up and doing the training.
It's a paradigm shift. It is and for the way that this country is right now, it is a massive difference. Like almost completely opposite in the way that everybody wants to live their life and how everybody currently is living their life to what we need to be doing. Those couldn't be further apart. Like when we say, okay, you're going to have to get up early and you're going to have to train, and then you're going to have to eat clean, and then you have to go to work and you're going to have to do productive things to create an income, and then you have to go train again, and then you have to go be a good father, and then you have to go be a good husband, and then you need that is not the cool thing to do right now. The cool thing to do is, go pick up an IPA from this microbrew and let your beard grow out and make sure you got a cool flannel and some tight jeans. Maybe go walk out into the freeway and protest that, the upper 1% is getting all the good thing. Well, apparently I'm in the 1%, you're in the 1%, Mike, you're in the 1%. Let me tell you what the 1% feels like. It feels like a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, and lest anybody think that, I'm some kind of weirdo that just gets out of bed looking forward to this crazy training. I'm here to tell you that every day, I wake up in the morning and my feet hit the floor and I think, I can't do it. I mean, I'm just not able to do it. I'm sore. I'm going to have to call in and tell Tim I'm sick. And then I end up going and getting my cup of coffee. And then I'm like grumbling all the way to the truck. It's like, I just take these steps. Next thing you know, I'm at the gym and I never call in sick, but I have to, just keep going.
It's a bunch of little choices though. So you got out of bed, right? And then you went and let's talk about your coffee. You're drinking good paleo, caveman, organic coffee, a little bit of butter, MCT oil, right? Getting that good caffeine with good fats, heading to the gym. But then you get to the gym and you look at the board today.
Oh, it's like it just sucks your soul out.
Again, right? This exact same feeling that when you got out of bed, you're like, man, I can't do it. And then you get to the gym and you get up and you look at the whiteboard, and the whiteboard says 8 rounds of this, 8 rounds of this, 6 rounds of this, 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off for freaking 16 rounds. You're like, no, I can't do it. There's no way. Like I just got heel hooked 2 days ago. I have an ankle that looks.
By the way, I feel bad I felt like I was a bad wingman. See, you should not have been doing sprints on that ankle.
Do you see this ankle?
No.
Look at that. It's hanging over his sock right now.
But I'll tell you what. I only got beat one time today by a sandbagger.
All right.
Yeah.
When I'm injecting your arthritic ankle a year from now, we'll talk about it.
I'll be fine. I'm gonna ice today.
So Tim will do that with me. If I ever hurt something.
You were melting your feet today. Actually melting your shoes while we were sprinting.
After the sprints were over, I almost wanted to yank my shoes off because they felt so hot.
Unreal. So you have this realization, right? Okay, I'm fat. I'm not sleeping. Libido's crushed, and then you have epiphany or this not an existential moment, but you're like, okay, I need to make changes. What were the choices that you started to make to
Well,
turn this corner? Because a lot of people say, okay, where do I start? I get emails all the time. Hey, dude, will you write me a diet? Can you write me a workout? What do I do first? And I say, man, just start. Just start. So where was that start for you?
So I remember the day. I have a picture of it because I walked up into the bathroom after I got those pictures from my dad, and I was looking at myself in the bathroom mirror, and I've got some pictures of me, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm never going to let this happen again. And in my eyes, they're glassy and red because I'm probably wasted. But right after that, I got dressed and drove. The only thing I knew how to do was get a gym membership. So I drove to I think it was Gold's Gym, got a membership, and then went over and grabbed like just these little dinky dumbbells. And I used to lift in high school and stuff. And I remember just thinking, oh my God, this is how far I've slipped. Like I could lift hardly anything. And I remember after I'd gone to the gym 3 days in a row, my wife was like, I'm really proud of you. And I was like, for what? She was like, you've gone to the gym 3 days in a row. And I remember thinking like, oh wait, one day she's going to be like tired of me going to the gym. But I savored that moment because she was shocked by it that I had gone 3 days in a row. But I just kept going and kept going. And then that's kind of how it started.
So we have a lot of different categories kind of in the sheepdog world. We have these real high level, most of the instructors are tier 1 special operation professionals, guys that have been in Ranger Battalion, Special Forces, Navy SEALs, Marine Recon. Like those are the guys that run our courses on the military side. And then we have the law enforcement guys like the Marshall Lutons, where they have dedicated themselves both through competition and occupationally to be the best and fastest in everything that they do, specifically shooting. And then you have this kind of, I won't call them anomalies, but they are a diamond in the rough. The Alex Acostas, the Shane Steiners, where they don't have a professional or occupational requirement to be this way. But sure as shit, you get in a gunfight with Alex Acosta, you're going to die. You get in a fight with Shane Steiner, he's going to tear your face off and then shoot you. You know, like, so in this weird third, I don't mean to call you weird, but this,
I've been weird all my life. So.
This rare, I'll call it rare. This kind of third group, which is civilians,
Not to be confused with third group.
yeah, not third special forces group, the A, B, and C group. Why? Like, why did you now, as a grappler, you know, you've been competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments, both gi and no gi, winning everything that you've gone to, training at multiple gyms in defensive tactics to include weapon retention, edged weapons. To we shoot how many three days a week normally when we're in the United States. Why?
You know what? I think when I first started learning to grapple, I remember like after I had learned a couple of cool moves, and then somebody came in and didn't know anything. I remember I wanted to show them those two moves that I knew. Like, so right off the bat, as soon as I knew something, I was wanting to help somebody, you know, get better.
But how'd you even get to that point, though? I mean, you went from on the boat with your dad taking pictures of how fat you were to I got to get in shape. But what was that next step where you said, not just being in shape for shit? You know, you didn't just say, I'm going to get in shape so I can look at myself in the mirror and take better pictures. You made that sheepdog step.
Well, it's all been a learning process. Like when I first got into the gym, I started putting on weight and trying to see how much weight I could lift. Mm-hmm. So I started to do more meathead kind of stuff, a lot of bodybuilding and powerlifting. And the first time I stepped foot in a jiu-jitsu gym and got manhandled by a little small guy, I remember thinking, what good is this muscle?
But that was my question. What drew you there? What drew you to take that first step into the jiu-jitsu gym?
You know, I was actually, you know, we Tim had gone off to, this is a few years ago, but he'd gone off to fight camp, and one of our training partners, Aaron Lofton, was like, "Hey, come grapple with me," and I was like, "Man, I'm probably too old to learn this. These people have been doing this stuff for years," and but I went and showed up anyway, and immediately was like, "I've got to learn how to do this," because there was like a 150-pound guy that I could not get off of me, and instead of getting upset about this, I was like, "This is great! Like if I can learn how to do this to somebody else," and then of course, training with Tim, it's kind of getting thrown in the deep end really early. So and also we're built similar, so just watching Tim and seeing the stuff that works for him, I kind of got a big jump as far as grappling.
Okay, so you were over here in this circle. You'd made your way from outside the circle into the fitness circle. So you were over here.
Yes.
And then where guys like Tim are and your other training partners, they were in that portion of the Venn diagram that overlies it, where they're not only in the fitness circle, but they're also in the martial arts circle.
Yeah. So Tim,
that's what drew you into that.
Tim, I don't really know who told you to come up and because you were looking for training partners at the gym. And then Tim walked up and was like, "Hey, one of the trainers here was telling me that you're, pretty strong or whatever. I'm looking for training partners." And my first thing was like, "Look, I've seen that stuff that you guys are doing over there, and that looks like a bunch of maniacs. I can't." I was like, "I don't know if I could do that." And then Tim looked at me like totally dead-eyed. "Just be here on Monday, 9:00. And I was like, "Okay, I will be there."
Such an asshole.
You've been tasked.
That's what I've always liked about Tim. He does not give. I mean, he's just a straight shooter. He's like, "Just be here at 9. Like, quit trying to be a wuss." And so I showed up at 9 a.m. and we did a workout. There's a few guys there, and I think he liked to put everybody through like a kind of a crucible. Like we did a Rooney complex. That was like the first thing that I ever did. So a Rooney complex is 135 pounds on the bar. You do one deadlift, one row, one clean, one push press, and then one front squat. And then you do 2 deadlifts, 2 rows, 2 cleans, 2 push presses, and 2 front squats. Then you go all the way to 10, and then back down to 1. So it takes like 30 minutes.
30 minutes if you're a freaking stud.
And people are racing. So it's like if somebody's on 4 or 5 and you're on, you're one behind them and they're going to the bar, you're going to the bar. Anyway, I remember feeling like I was going to die. And there was guys wanting to quit. They were like, "Listen, man, I got this thing to do." And Tim was going, "You get back on that bar and you finish this set." And those are the guys who would never, like, they didn't show up for day 2.
There's some of them that didn't show back up ever. But training, you have to train your mind as much as you have to train your body. And I think a lot of people miss that part where, you can do steroids and it will make you faster and stronger. But what you miss out on when you take that easy route, when you take that pill, when you take the quick fix, is the work that goes into it. When I say you have to fall in love with the process, you have to fall in love with the pain and suffering that goes along with being successful.
That is a really good point, because what I learned on that thing, that very first time, I remember feeling miserable. Like I hated that feeling. And now I've learned that when I get that feeling, when you're having that conversation with yourself, like, am I about to die?
Yeah.
And you just keep going. That's when I know, like, I love to live in that space now.
That's it. People ask, like, how do I get to where you are? Man, you go to where you're going to break, you go to where you're going to die, and you stay there. You go to where you feel like your body is going to explode, your chest is going to melt, your brain is going to drop out of your face.
Where people are talking to you,
so
but
bad.
You can't understand what they're
like
saying.
You see their mouth moving,
Yeah.
and be like, I can't process anything that you're saying. I realize those letters are making words, those words make a sentence making paragraphs, and that's supposed to convey some meaning to me, but I don't know what you're saying. So can we just move on? So I can, but you stay there as long as you can. And then what happens is, the more you stay there and the longer you stay there, your body starts adapting. It's like, oh, I can do this. I can do it for longer. I can do it faster. I can lift more.
And that helps, when you're talking about self-defense and all that stuff. That is like one of the biggest keys. Is you can learn the techniques and everything. That's great, but to have your body in that kind of shape. So, like the very first time I went kickboxing, I thought we were going to go grapple, and I got to this gym, and everybody had gloves on and kick in like shin guards, and I was like, what is this? Tim's like, oh, you didn't know we were kickboxing today? Like, I'd never kickboxed in my life, but I felt like I was doing pretty good because just my body held up way longer. There was guys that had been doing this, for they're professionals, and they were actually starting to get tired, maybe of hitting me in the face, but they were getting tired, and all of a sudden they were slowing down, and I was like, hey, now it's almost even at some point because I wasn't slowing down.
When that pain and that sweat becomes the norm, everything else becomes easy. If real high stress situations, gunfights, robberies, muggings, like having been in each of them, I remember how easy everything was. I see this criminal in front of me that's freaking out. I can see his heart racing, and he's done this numerous times. I've never been mugged before, but I'm like, I could shoot you if I want. I could stab you if I want, or I could just bitch slap you and tell you to run for your life. That's how many options you have, because your mind and your body is so conditioned to do whatever the hell you tell it to. That's a powerful thing, is where you're in control of your body, where you're saying, man, I'm going to make it go for as long as I want, as fast as I want, with whatever load I want. That is empowering. And then back to, circling back to what you're saying about the body shaming, when you can look at yourself and be like, hell yeah, that's what a man is supposed to look like. That's powerful. That is masculine. That's okay to feel that way and to be proud of that and to want to look better, or want to look stronger. I'm not saying obsess over it, but like I don't care where I am. I'm like, I'll take my shirt off. I'll freaking take my shorts off if my wife would let me, because feeling pretty good, Just remind everybody that. Anyways, so that's perfectly fine, and I wish that that was the norm for our society and the culture. Was like, I want to aspire to look good. I was just watching this movie, Captain Fantastic, and there's a scene where these kids that have been living this alternate, they've been raised in this alternate style out in the woods. They go into town for the first time in almost their lives, and they're at I think what is an IHOP, and they're looking around. They're like, what is wrong with everybody? Are all these people sick? Are they dying? And they just couldn't understand why everybody was so fat. They're at an IHOP, and they just couldn't grasp that everybody around them was dying, and they are. When you're at that 20-25% body fat, and it's taxing to get up out of the booth and walk to the bathroom, there's a problem with our society. And there was a problem with you 15 years ago where you're sitting there and be like, or 10 years ago, where, man, I don't want to look like this. I can't perform like this. I can't protect my family like this. And then you made a choice that had a whole bunch of little decisions after it. There's not a single solution. It's thousands of little decisions that are going to lead up to that moment where you're like, hell yeah, put me in a fight. I got this. So that's a testament to that anybody can do it. You just got to choose first. You have to have that realization of, man, I'm not where I should be, but where do I go from here? And man, all you got to do is start. The Sheepdog Survival Fund. You're founder and board member of the Sheepdog Survival Fund. What made you want to get that going? Like, what made you look? I'm asking. I know the answer.
You were there.
I know. So we're at a sheepdog response course, and we had these cats show up, and they're looking at tourniquets as if they were made on Mars. These were military. It was a military law enforcement course, and they're like, "Man, that's a neat little gizmo you got there." And I was like, "What?" you joking? What? No. No. Did I just blow myself out? Hello?
Yeah, we're still good.
Am I
We're still
good?
recording. Yeah.
Okay. So we saw these guys with these busted tourniquet, or not even knowing what tourniquets were, and the tourniquets that we had were these old busted ones. And we find out that their department doesn't have the money to buy their tourniquets. Their departments didn't have the money to buy them optics. They showed up at a shooting course with rifles that had no sights on them. Like, wait, hey, no iron
kind of
sights.
important, I think.
How are you supposed to shoot? So we recognized a problem, and we said, how do we fix this?
Yeah, I mean, look, those guys need to use every opportunity to have the right equipment to help them do their jobs. And whether that's training, a lot of those guys can't afford to come do the training. And so that's why we have the scholarship. And if they write to us and tell us their situation, we'll give them a all expenses paid trip to come down and train. But the whole reason the Sheepdog started was like you'd watched all these instances of bad police shootings, and it was always coming down to training. And you were like, you're one of those people that doesn't just see a problem and then bitch about it. You're like, we gotta fix this problem. Not just the incidents where the cop shoots somebody, but just the cop getting killed. There was a lot of cops getting killed, and it was just because of bad training. And so you were like, I'm going to start doing a Sheepdog course for law enforcement and for civilians because of the San Bernardino shootings. Like, I'm going to teach people how not to be victims.
So, and you know what a lot of these law enforcement organizations were doing for the longest time, and some of them are still doing it, is rather than invest the money in the training, they're investing the money in gizmos. They're buying these up-armored vehicles and all this stuff. They're buying, weapons, whatever it might be. And then you see, I don't remember what state it was even in, a few years back, there's a picture of a female police officer, and she's got an M4 and the magazine's in backwards. Have you ever seen that?
Or the one where the EATech is on reverse also.
Yeah. So it's like we're buying gizmos. We're throwing money at the problem in the form of stuff, and we're not teaching.
But it's not even the right stuff because, like we said, they don't have tourniquets.
Right. They don't. Their priorities are all off, and it's usually when you trace all that back. And I remember when I lived in Statesboro, Georgia, when they were. This was years ago. They may have a SWAT team now. Back in the '80s, they were first trying to stand up their SWAT team, and one of the guys was talking to me about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get this, and we're gonna get that, and we're gonna get this, and we're gonna get that," and it's like, you guys your priorities are so far out of whack. You literally have no idea. You're just going to be a bunch of guys in black cargo pants running around with the wrong weapons, doing the wrong tactics. So and hopefully they fix that problem.
Well, that's basically we saw that problem and thought, well, why don't we start a Sheepdog fund where we help get these guys the equipment they need.
So I mean, even the military and the law enforcement. They are not exceptions to the rule, where they were looking for the easy and quick fix. They're looking for, I can buy this gizmo, or I can get this optic, or I can just give this officer this gun, or I can send this soldier to this wacko, crazy, touch you in the neck and your head explodes martial art course. When in truth, they have to put in the work. Like there's not an exception to the rule. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what unit you're in. It doesn't matter what department you're in. It doesn't matter what cool selection you went to. You're still human. And the human body has to be trained and conditioned the same way. And that's through hard work. That's through falling in love with the process. And that's what these courses, we are not shy on the work part.
No. And you know what? We've the cops that come in to train with us are like, they're wanting to do the work. A lot of them don't, they haven't been told what the right work is.
They don't even know what they don't know.
Yeah,
they're like, wait a second. I don't have to shoot them in this situation? You're like, no, man, you got a lot of options here. You just got to grow your tool belt. And the only way that you can add tools to that tool belt is through hard work. So the Sheepdog Survival Fund, we saw a problem. We saw guys did not have the right training. They did not have the right equipment. They didn't have access to, Mike, you've talked about it numerous times. We've been at war for 16 years now. Actively, maybe pushing 20, 25. But we've been actively in war for 16 years. We have been learning everything about how to fight at the most elite level in every single situation, in urban, in mountainous, in cold weather, in swamps. We have been getting after it. I mean, we're in North Africa, we're in the Middle East, we're on rivers. Baghdad has two of the most massive rivers that meet right there in the freaking city. So
they're kind of famous.
The Tigers and Euphrates. So we know about fighting, not warfare. I'm not talking dropping bomb Moabs on people, which is sweet. Screw you, ISIS. But I mean, going door by door, room by room, house by house, and surgically removing evil from this planet. Now we learned all this stuff, and we're trying to bring it back. And we're not that I want a militarized police force. I'm a libertarian. That is the last thing I want. I do not want my police force to have tanks cruising down the road, but I want them to have the knowledge, training, and understanding how to win a fight. When there is a time where you say, no, you've broken the law, this is evil, you got to go, they have the right tools and equipment to do that. And right now, they don't. And then the military, they think that they're so cool because we've been at war for 16 years and they have all the great equipment and they think they have all the great training. They forget that they have to put in real work.
Well, and you not only have to put in the work and get the training, but it doesn't stop there. There is no. We used to. I don't even know if they use the term in the military anymore. We used to have this thing where you had whatever your individual tasks were. You had a column, and for every individual soldier throughout the year, say the individual task was to clear a malfunction on your weapon. You would have, if you had a U in your column, that meant you were untrained. If you had a P, it meant you were proficient, and if you had a T, it meant you were trained. But that's a little bit of a misconception, like, oh, well, you're trained in something. Just, as great as our Sheepdog courses are, and as great as the skills are, somebody comes to our Sheepdog course, that doesn't mean that they have all of that proficiency for the rest of their career and the rest of their life. You have to sustain it too. So you have to continue to put in the
That's
work.
what I tell people that are wanting to come as civilians. They've asked me, like, so when I leave this course, I'll be able to, kick ass.
I'll be Tim Kennedy.
And I'll have to tell them, like, you can't train somebody how to shoot in 2 days.
Yeah.
But what you can do is show them if they can go home and dry fire.
Right.
And you can go home and this is what you need to think about. This is the way to hold it. This is the way to do a reload. And if they keep practicing on it, then you will learn how to get better. But you can't show somebody how to do stuff in 2 days. You can only show them what they don't know.
At the end of these almost 70 hours, all you know is where to start, and then you got to do the work yourself. We show you what you don't know. We show you what your assets are. We show you what your liabilities are. We train you to perform within your strengths and to avoid your weaknesses. But then from that point on, we have essentially just set you on a journey with a trajectory. We gave you an azimuth, but you got to walk.
Yeah.
That's
a doorway.
That's 100% you. You got to walk through that door, and you got to continue on the azimuth, and it never ends. It's not like you reach a point and you're like, oh man, I'm good. Every single day, as we're sitting here talking, I'm looking around my room at, I have a bag that I just came back from Africa, and sitting on top of it is an Onnit sandbag and I know what's inside of it because it has
sand.
No, it has 3 different chambers for me to put sand inside of, and I just brought this back from Africa because I took it with me. And then if you look inside of this bag right here, oh look, there's a TRX, there's a jump rope, and there's a kettlebell sandbag.
Did you have any room for clothes?
No, that's secondary.
That's not his clothes bag.
No. Oh, I got my little Haji slippers. Look at this. This is for me to blend in with the people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, isn't it nice?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, you and I are, even though we're instructors at the Sheepdog, we're constantly training all the time. It's not like we go, hey, we got this.
Let me look at this week this year. So I have 3 grappling sessions, 2 kickboxing sessions, 6 strength and conditioning sessions. I'm shooting long gun once, pistols twice, and then on Wednesday I'll be going out and doing cross training with RPGs. So that's my next 7 days.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and that's not abnormal. You know, like that's almost what we do every time that we're here. And even when I'm traveling, like this last week when I was in North Africa, I still train twice a day. I was working. Obviously, I'm working on a different skill set. So my head is on a swivel all the time, low vis. I'm trying to blend in. I'm buying Moroccan polos and Real Madrid soccer t-shirts with Haji slippers and wearing lots of sweatpants bottoms.
I saw pictures. You looked pretty trendy.
Didn't I look? I looked legit, right? I mean, for a big old muscle. Anyways, so always getting better. There's never a point that we can say we're done training. There is never an end. You're always wanting to get better. Shane.
But also, no matter how good you get, especially like with shooting, it's a perishable skill. You
Yeah.
take some time off, and you can, I don't care how good I'm doing. That's not how good I am right now.
No.
I take a few days off. I'll come back. I'm a little rusty on things.
Shane fell in love with the process. You woke up and you said, "Okay, I can't be here anymore. I have to change. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die fat, young, and unhappy. Or I can, with eyes wide open, recognize, look at the mirror, look at a picture that my dad sent me, look at the way that my wife looks at me, and say, hell no, not one more day am I going to live like this." And now, the 4% body fat, 600-pound squatting, deadlifting, sprinting monster that shoots better than most SF guys that I get to train with. It's pretty awesome. We're glad to have you as part of the Sheepdog family. And, for everybody, you just got to start. Just start. It's that easy. Find a beginning place and go.
It's like when you talk about when's the best time to engage the enemy or whatever. It was now.
It's right now.
It's right now.
And the second best
right
time
now.
is now.
And that's the same thing with, don't say, I remember when I used to watch Rocky movies and go, all right, in the morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to start running. And then that alarm clock would go off and I'd hit snooze, like, no, I'm not doing it. But if you do it now,
the best time is right now.
Or, if you, saying tomorrow morning or saying, well, I've got this thing coming up this weekend, but starting on Monday or the first of next month, those are arbitrary. Okay, our calendar is no better than the Aztec calendar. These are arbitrary markings. Now is always now, but picking an arbitrary, May 1st or New Year's resolution or Monday or Saturday or whatever it is, it's just a delay tactic.
That's why I don't hit snooze on my alarm anymore. When it goes off, I get up.
Yeah,
because hitting the snooze, you'll just get into a habit where you're just hitting it all the time.
Yeah.
So, takeaways: fall in love with the process. Realize that hard work is part of the journey. You gotta love living in pain. Once you fall in love with that moment and you want to stay in that moment where your heart is pounding and about to explode out of your chest, and you realize that is your body getting faster, stronger, and harder to kill, only then will you realize what the course and that trajectory is for you to get better.
Also, find like-minded people to train
You
with.
can't do it alone.
Like I'll tell you right now, if I just get up and train alone, it'd be tough.
yeah,
Find your community. They're out there.
yeah. You're not. That's and that's a whole. At some point, I want to do a whole show on that, on talking about your circle of influence and about how it affects you.
Because you are who you surround yourself with.
You're totally who you surround yourself
Let
with.
me tell you, when I was doing drugs and everything, if you'd have seen the people I was hanging out with, it would made sense. But
Yeah. Well, it's like people that that I got this one friend that I'm trying to fix because he's not a bad dude. Yeah, he kind of lives on my couch. He's not a bad dude. It's like that guy's bringing you down. You need to give him a wake up call. And if he doesn't want to go on the ride with you into the next phase of getting better, then you need to cut that person free.
And, my dad used to tell me that all the time, and I used to think he was, well, this guy's okay, but he was right. Nothing good ever happened hanging around certain people. So he's pretty pleased that, Tim and I are buddies now because Tim's got his stuff together.
Yeah.
Trying.
Good deal, man. Shane, thanks for being here. Where can people find you?
I don't know.
At the gym,
At
on
the
the
gym.
range.
Yeah.
Gym or the range.
Yeah, Shane's not really. Shane has a social media presence, but he's not. Other than liking my tweets, he's not really active.
Hey, listen, that's like the best part of my day is going through and reading Mike Simpson tweets.
So
How do you have time to do anything else? Because you tweet a lot.
I do it in like fits and starts.
Uh-huh.
So
Like 9 in a row.
Well, I'll think of like a bunch of things that I want to say, and also I'll do. Sometimes I will. I'll make a tweet and I put it in my drafts, and I'll put like 4 or 5 of them in my drafts, and then I'll burst them out later on. So I do that. But so there's. In fact, I was going to send this out as a tweet like yesterday. I was going to say 90% of my tweets are geared for 5 of you. And you're one of the 5.
Yeah. Well, I'm just waiting to find a tweet that I do not agree with. Like I'm always like, yes, like it, yes. Man, I'm gonna look like a psycho just following liking all of his.
It's so you, Toby Nunn, my cousin Ruben, and a couple other people. It's like I send stuff out there, and I'm like, I just want to see how long it takes Shane to like this. So I'm glad you like it. So Tim, anything else before we sign it off?
Man, God bless America. Don't be a bad guy because we're looking for you. America's we got our teeth back, and we're looking for some things to bite. So
Yeah.
we're force multiplying.
Bite with
Yeah, we just want to drop some more. Nah, man.
All right, man. So I'm gonna, because in honor of Shane's country music career, I'm gonna sign off today with a quote from the late and great Hank Williams Sr., whose philosophy is somewhat counter to pretty much everything we talked about today, but I want to honor the man. And this quote specifically kind of goes against what we talked about, but it's typical Hank. Don't take life too serious. You can't get out alive anyhow. Think about that, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, be a sheepdog.
You have been listening to the Sheepdog Project. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/sheepdog response. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the individual and do not represent any larger entity, public or private.